Anything is possible. We can shine brighter than we ever imagined when we let go, when we fly, when we soar to the sky, unhindered by doubt, unashamed of our vulnerabilities. Our cape in the breeze, beyond mountains and limits and worry. The world is much smaller, your power much greater. Be sure of your strength. Be bold in your dreams. Be selfless. Be boundless. Be fearless.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Linda Rosenberg.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, we've got a good crowd. It's going to be a great morning. So welcome to the second day of the conference. How was yesterday? Excellent, excellent. I hope it was a wonderful day. We searched very hard for a program that would bring fearlessness to life. And I think you'll agree we found it in the Modern Warrior Live. Afghanistan veteran James Poling and jazz musician Dominic Ferranici give voice to servicemen and women who've endured wartime trauma. Together, they heal the scars of war through music. If you like what you hear this morning, I encourage you to grab a box lunch at lunchtime from the Solutions Pavilion and join them for a full performance at 1 p.m. in the Riverview Ballroom. You know, one of the things we try to do is make sure when you come to a National Council conference, and someone just called us the Coachella of health conferences, the unbelievable compliment, we try to make sure you have an enriching experience in many, many ways, and that includes music. So if you need help finding the Riverview, consult your app or ask anybody with a blue scarf or tie. That's why I don't wear one, because if you ask me, I can't tell you anything. I've been here many times, still can't find my way around. So please join me in warmly welcoming Modern Warrior Live. They are fabulous.
In Afghanistan, the learning curve is steep, and through my night vision I see something that looks like a fuse being lit, and my squad leader jumps behind my equipment. A moment later, something flies past my head and sticks in the ground. It's the first time I was ever shot at by a rocket-propelled grenade, and I'm mostly just irritated I hadn't recognized what was happening. Luckily though, by the time I'm needed, I'm more than proficient. Before flying into a hostile city, we prepare thoroughly. We map out exactly where we're landing and how we're going to attack each building. We discuss our rules for lethal engagement. But once I prepare my weapons, explosives, and other equipment, I have some time to myself. I recognize that the safety of my guys is in my hands, and that my safety is in theirs. So I put my headphones in, I block the thoughts of family and home, and I listen to others that can relate to my world. This puts me in an introspective place and allows me to take on a character as I prepare myself to be unforgiving, calculated, and uncompromisingly violent. I fly in carrying my M240 Bravo. The M240 is a 49-inch, 27.6 pound, 7.62 millimeter belt-fed, air-cooled, fully automatic machine gun fired from the open bolt position. It's capable of firing 650 to 950 rounds a minute and has a maximum effective range of 1,100 meters on tripod. It's my gun. And in a lot of ways, it's my identity. There's a comfort in the clarity of our shared purpose, and it's never let me down. After a long walk into the city, I'm changing my socks when I hear my friend yell down from the rooftop that he sees a bunch of guys carrying backpacks. A moment later, he says, never mind, they're bags of rocket-propelled grenades, and within moments, that mud rooftop begins getting chewed down by a hail of automatic gunfire. I grab the other machine gun and go to move out as I hear one of our leaders say, we're surrounded, and air support's 45 minutes out, so hold this building. A friend of mine runs by me screaming, it's the fucking Alamo, and it makes me laugh as I settle into this position on my corner alley. And now I'm lying here ready to keep anyone from getting to my guys. They're busy fighting in every direction, and it's my job to keep the enemy from reinforcing itself. There's a 3-foot wall to my left, and a mud building to my right, and as the rounds hit above my head, a dust cloud settles on my position and slightly chokes off each breath. There's an enemy fighter coming to meet me at the end of this alley, and I know he's coming here because that's what I would do if I were him. I'd come to the corner of that 3-foot wall, point my AK-47 down it, and spray this position. So I decide I'm gonna shoot his weapon. He'll be about 50 feet away, and I think I can realistically cover that entire wall before he can get me. It's weird how calm I feel. Everything just kind of makes sense. I'm not scared, but I'm also not convinced I'm gonna live through this moment. And then my enemy does the unexpected. He stands up and sprints. And for a moment, I'm completely caught off guard. I squeeze the trigger and throw my shoulder into my gun, and I get lucky. He's thrown back as he falls behind the building he was running to. And a moment later, his feet are pulled from sight. Back in the States, it doesn't take me long to reach a point where I miss the fighting, and I feel like less without it. Luckily though, when I close my eyes and I think of the details of the fights, the adrenaline comes back and I feel alive again. One night, I go for a walk near my dad's house, and a life flight helicopter flies overhead, and immediately my heart starts racing, and my hands start shaking as I feel everything that I feel when I'm in a helicopter being lowered into a firefight as tracers are flying by, but now, I'm just on a residential street in Ohio, with my hands on my knees as I fight to catch my breath. I spend the next 4 hours chain smoking Newports as I try to figure out what the fuck just happened to me. When I wake up in the morning, I'm soaked. I hate the day already. I can feel my sheets sticking to my legs. It's 4:30 in the afternoon and I have 3 missed text messages. The first is from my mom, and the other 2 are from a girl that I just met, but before getting to know her, I'm already bored. I don't have the energy or the desire to let her in, and if I do, I'll just hurt her in the long run, so I'll distance myself now. Maybe this is what my mom means when she tells me she doesn't like the way I treat women. As I roll my feet off the bed, I can recognize that my head hurts from the alcohol-induced dehydration, but I've grown to accept it as a normal feeling, and I justify it with the random military achievements scattered around my apartment. Am I crazy? Society determines what crazy is, right? And what does society know about the real world? I mean, I guess they know I'm crazy.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that space. Even your emotions had an echo in so much space. And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. And it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Possibly.
My toothbrush looks disgusting when I pick it up. I let my thoughts go where they want. It's the first time I've stopped since I was 17, and I don't know whether to grieve or feel hopeless, or whether to be angry or to try and psychoanalyze myself, so I just start with remembering who I was. I'm thinking about the men that followed me, and I'm remembering a time when I felt better.
And I hope that you are having the time of your life. But think twice. That's my only advice. Come on now, who do you think you are? Bless your soul. You really think you're in control? Well, I think you're crazy. I think that you're crazy. I think you're crazy. Just
I hear my phone ringing and I'll see who it was later. I step in the shower and the heat from the water reminds me that I'm only physically here. Mentally, I'm running a marathon. I'm with those that I live for. My mind quickly bounces between not just the friends I've lost, but their widows and their children. And I can't help but picture each one individually as they flash through my thoughts like a fucked up slideshow. I wish I could trade places with any of them. I try and prevent what's about to happen. I tell myself, I'm the tough guy. I've ended lives with my decisions, with my hands, and no matter what I tell myself, I can't stop it. And I feel my bottom lip curl like I'm a child, and I sit down in the shower shaking. My phone starts ringing again, and I can't talk to anyone today. They'll either think I'm crazy or they'll feel sorry for me. I don't want either.
my heroes had the heart to live their lives out on a limb. And I remember thinking, I want to be just like them. Ever since I was little, it looked like fun. And there's no coincidence that I've come. And I can die when I'm done. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you're crazy.
But at the same time, if our view of the veterans is one of disease orientation, of post-traumatic stress syndrome, of disorder, if you assume that there's something wrong with people, if you do it long enough, expectations are very strong. There's also something called post-traumatic growth, where you come out of a situation like that and you actually feel kinder toward your fellow man, fellow woman. that you are actually a better husband, father. You actually have a closer relationship with your God. You do not have to go around apologizing if there's some rage in you, although if we tell our veterans enough that this is what's wrong with them, they may actually start believing it. I would just say there's one misperception of our veterans, and that is they are somehow damaged goods. I don't buy it, and I think that that kind of self-pity, while victimhood in America is exalted, I don't think our veterans should join those ranks.
The other day, my mom asked me how I found peace. Maybe I found it in wanting to share it. Because I know if I could give anything to the ones that are hurting, it would be peace. I know that there's individuals that see me as an exception, and others that feel as though they cannot relate. But I can't help but think that there's individuals out there that need to hear that growth is possible. They need to know that society can be wrong when it assigns labels to survivors based on the trauma they survive. Why is it the case someone who survives cancer is considered stronger, while someone who survives combat is considered damaged or a liability? Forged in combat is a saying we rarely hear now. Why? We don't feel like victims. I'm not saying the road's always easy. It's littered with overdoses and suicides, and each time that dull pain that comforts me is transformed into a searing pain, and that feeling leaves me once again looking forward to just the familiar ache of loss. But I know that I would do it all again. And most of us would, because those struggles have shaped who we are.